Hey, and welcome back to Game Talk. I'm your host, David Meon. Today I'm joined by Connor.
Hey, guys.
And Mike.
Hello.
And it is that time of year, once again. The Game Awards are upon us. And I always enjoy, the Game Awards season, because not only is there, awards, that celebrates our industry, but there's also a ton of announcements around this time, too. So I'm excited to see what all gets revealed this Thursday. Yeah, so this is being recorded 2 days before the actual event, so who knows when this is actually going to go out, but just to sort of set the time frame here.
What do you mean?
But yeah,
they're recording this a month in advance because,
Oh, yeah, totally. Yeah,
we didn't just have a 3-week hiatus again.
It wasn't that long this time.
No, because we recorded with Ranga. Mike's had a 3-week hiatus.
Yeah, Mike, you missed the Sonic.
Did I miss the Sonic
what was it? It was the
too?
Pokemon episode.
It was the Pokemon. Yeah, we talked about Sonic very briefly. I think.
Yeah, we can. I think we want to talk about Sonic Frontiers at some point in the future, but for now, let's talk about the Game Awards. So this is Jeff Keighley's award show, which I think he's done quite a decent job at propping this up and making it blow up over the years. So.
I mean, are we just going to kind of lob our Game of the Year discussion into this too? Probably.
Yeah, I would say, what is it, December 6th? I don't know. Is there anything else?
I don't think there's anything coming out. I mean, Dwarf Fortress, but...
But that's technically already come out,
It's been out for 16 years. It doesn't count.
Yeah.
It's also not going to beat Elden Ring.
Well, okay, so I guess we can... Let's just start with, I guess, the big one, right? The Game of the Year award, the main award. So there are apparently 31 categories. I don't know if we'll go into each one in depth, because some things we might just not have the knowledge on to speak to at length. But Game of the Year, in order that they are presented on the website, the nominees are A Plague Tale Requiem, Elden Ring, God of War Ragnarok, Horizon Forbidden West, Stray, and Xenoblade Chronicles 3. So I think the easy answer here is probably Elden Ring, right? I think the only thing that has remote competition is God of War Ragnarok, and everything else is just sort of around. And I think it is kind of... I don't know, I think it's been a while since we got a year like this where one game is just so, I guess, dominant,
Yeah, I hate to say, none of the games other than Elden Ring on here were even in competition.
Really, honestly. You had Plague Tale
Well,
Requiem.
to be fair, okay, we have to be fair here. How many of the games on this list have you played?
Stray and Elden Ring. I've basically played Xenoblade Chronicles 3 because I played the first two and they're mid.
Oh,
yeah, you just have to... That's
you
a
just
hot
made
take.
so
you
many
just
enemies.
made someone mad out there.
Actually, okay, no, I'm being generous calling them mid.
mad.
They're bad games. But
People love
They're gonna call you a
Xenoblade, man.
donkey fan.
I don't know.
Then.
I am a Donkey fan. Donkey's right.
I've seen so many people get up in arms that Donkey dare called their precious Xenoblade Chronicles 3 a mid-game.
Okay. Mike, have you played any of these games?
No, I have no bearing.
That's what I
in this
thought,
race.
yeah. So I've played 4 of the 6 games here, right? So Elden Ring, God of War, Horizon, and Stray. And you know what? It is very close for me between Elden Ring and God of War Ragnarok. And as we will discuss, or as I will discuss later in this episode, God of War Ragnarok is a very special game. But I still, even with how much I love God of War Ragnarok, I still feel like my heart has to say Elden Ring.
I
Elden
played
Ring...
a lot of games that I really liked this year. Was Psychonauts 2 this year, or was that last year?
No way. Was it this year? If it was this year, my perception of time is totally shot.
I can't remember.
I don't think it was this year.
Yeah.
No, it was last year, because I remember us talking about it, not winning anything at the Game Awards.
Yeah, that made me mad. You're right. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, Elden Ring. It's weird because Elden Ring is by far the best game I've played this year. And I played a lot of games that I really liked this year.
Oh, yeah. This year was a banger for video games.
Elden Ring just it towers very tall above any other.
Yeah, I mean, I said earlier in the year... I said earlier in the year that Elden Ring was, the best game I've ever played. And... Yeah. Obviously, once you come off of an experience like that, you're feeling jazzed, you might have a little recency bias. But, I still kind of want to say that, several months removed from it.
Outer Wilds, though.
Outer Wilds is fantastic, don't get me wrong. But, Elden Ring, for me, is just everything I want in a video game. And don't get me wrong, too, God of War Ragnarok is a 10 out of 10. No question, no doubt on that fact for me, right? God of War Ragnarok is a 10 out of 10. But Elden Ring is I guess an 11 out of 10, if you can go even higher.
This is to go even further beyond.
It goes even further beyond. So, but that's our opinion, right? So, looking at the context of like how this award is calculated, right? It's a voting process, and votes are given by major like gaming publications around the world, right? So it's like a sort of global award, and also fan vote is taken into account as well. And I guess we can get into that a little bit later, but the majority of the weight, I believe like 80 or 90%, is on the coalition of pundits they have that are casting their vote. And then the other like 10 to 20% is the fan vote. So it's safe to say that like whatever the majority of these critics enjoyed is going to be Game of the Year for the Game Awards. And to me, it's most likely, with those criteria in mind, like it has to be either God of War or Elden Ring. And I would be very surprised to see anything else. In fact, like I'm 100% certain it's one of those two. Like there's zero chance anything else on this list will win.
There were a few games that came out this year that I could see being people's like personal Game of the Year.
Like I could see Stray getting a lot of nods, honestly.
Actually, I will say, I'm going to say this even though it's kind of not relevant. My Game of the Year, as far as games I played this year, is Omori. It beats Elden Ring for me in a pretty big way.
That's a pretty Connor pick.
It did not come out this year, so I didn't play it the year it came out. I feel very sad that I don't get to give it a Game of the Year award because it definitely deserves one.
Yeah. I mean, that's fair. I mean, like, I remember, I think a couple years ago, I was like, Disco Elysium is the best game I've played this year, and it did not come out that year, but...
Yeah, I had to do the same thing with Outer Wilds until the DLC came out, and the DLC wasn't the Game of the Year for me that year, so...
But yeah, so as far as our predictions go for Game of the Year, right, like...
It's gotta be
it's gotta be Elden Ring. Like
it's most likely Elden Ring, but I will say I will not be surprised if God of War Ragnarok wins it.
I will be very surprised if it's not Elden Ring. I think God of War appeals to you very... I think I will really enjoy Ragnarok when I play it. I think I will
Dude, it's got a 94 on Metacritic, you know? Elden Ring has like a 97, but like still, like that 94 is just like... That's like a game of the generation caliber game.
Yeah, but we get a lot of those these days.
Oh, no, we don't.
Yeah,
we got Elden Ring and Ragnarok in the same year.
But that's the exception, not the rule.
So often in games reviews that I'm not sure what a masterpiece in game design is anymore.
I just don't think anything... I don't think Ragnarok is going to beat Elden Ring. I will be extremely surprised.
I'll put it out there, Elden Ring is my vote, but I would not be surprised if God of War Ragnarok wins. I think it will get a lot of votes.
Blinded by how to your tastes Ragnarok is, because you're a huge fan of like those of PlayStation games specifically, like that AAA cinematic.
Okay, yeah, we're gonna have to agree to disagree here. I think you're wrong, and I think once the cumulative votes for the end of the year come out, it'll be surprising because I think yes, Elden Ring will win a lot of votes. Second place will probably be God of War Ragnarok with dozens and dozens of Game of the Year awards.
I mean, Elden Ring's also just going to have a lot more people having played it.
Yeah, absolutely, that's true. Yeah. So Elden Ring has sold like 15, 17 million plus copies already?
Yeah, and God of War's closer to 10, right?
Yeah. Which, by the way, God of War Ragnarok, fastest selling Sony exclusive now. Faster than Spider-Man, which is just wild. But
I mean, Ragnarok, I think, like, selling 10 million is really impressive, but I don't even think it's hit its stride because, like, there's a lot of people like me who are not going to play this game on a PS4. We're going to wait for the PC version or until we can get a PS5.
That is true, but I also, I heard so many anecdotes of people buying a PS5 to play God of War Ragnarok. Like, this was the game people were waiting for to get a PS5. But, yeah, so... I guess if we're giving the Game Talk vote, it's going to be Elden Ring.
It's gotta be. I think it's wild that I just want to shout out Stray for even making it this far, though. That's wild. I love Annapurna.
Yeah, Stray. I mean, Stray was one of those games that
Stray was fun. It was not.
Everyone just it was not a very good game. I mean, I liked the atmosphere and it was cool playing as a cat, but as a game, it was kind of eh.
And as far as gaming for non-gamers, Stray was kind of incredible. Because it's a platformer where you don't have to aim your jumps and
It did break into the mainstream in a way. Yeah. Which the only other game that really did that here is Elden Ring. Elden Ring was mainstream, which is the wildest statement to me. A From Software Miyazaki game was doing Call of Duty numbers. What world do we live in?
It's embarrassing that Xenoblade's on this list, dude. It's the only one that I feel like really doesn't belong.
Xenoblade is not as good.
Okay,
as
I haven't.
know.
So I can't comment on it because I haven't played Xenoblade Chronicles 3. I actually have never even played a Xenoblade game. So
you know what the really messed up part is about Xenoblade? Even its biggest fans hate it. Like every review I've ever seen of it, they're like, I love this game. And then they proceed to talk about what they hate about it for an hour and a half.
There are people who are super committed at Xenoblade 2.
I don't know. Maybe one day I'll play it and form my own opinion, but I have nothing to say right now.
Don't waste your time. You don't need,
don't waste your time.
You would have to spend 150 hours to form an opinion that anybody's going to respect. It's embarrassing.
It's a 150-hour game. Like there's no reason.
Don't get me wrong. Like Elden Ring was a 150-hour game, but it was a masterpiece.
Elden Ring is not. Yeah. Elden Ring is a 150-hour game for you to get everything out of it. Xenoblade is a 150-hour game to get into the game.
Jesus,
like
Christ.
That's the tutorial.
Okay, I know you're being hyperbolic, but
yeah, the tutorial's 30 or 40 hours. That's not hyperbolic.
That's actually how long it is.
That's so wild.
It's so stupid. They're not good games. They're not well-designed RPGs. They're just not.
I like games that respect my time, and Xenoblade has never respected anybody's time.
All right, I'm just gonna have to defer to your opinion.
It's
I've
so
never
bad.
Played these, but
now, okay, 3 might be better, but I cannot. Like, I had an ex-girlfriend try to get me to play Xenoblade Chronicles X, like, because she loved that game, and I wanted to love it. I really did, but I played it for like 5 hours. And I was like, does it get good soon? And she said, oh, no, it'll probably be a couple, 3 or 4 more days of this before you get to, like, anything interesting.
Xenoblade fans are built different, I guess.
They're built wrong. It's just wild.
Built wrong.
All right, let's move on. We don't want to eviscerate these people anymore, yeah. Okay, so that's Game of the Year. Let's see. The next category they have here is Best Game Direction. So this is always kind of like a weird award to me.
Before we go any further, Best Game Direction and Best Narrative have these same categories, are the same games.
Oh, do they?
Yeah,
no way.
The same game.
That's interesting. Okay.
Game Awards.
It's Elden Ring.
Not exactly the same. There's Stray on Best Game Direction, but not in...
as for one's for best kind of like game direction and designs for innovation wise. So sorry, Forbidden West, you're not winning.
Okay, so let's read the description. Awarded for outstanding creative vision and innovation in game direction and design. Okay, so for awarding game design, it's got to be Elden Ring.
Literally.
Yeah.
Now, okay, so my beef, I do want to say, have either of you ever heard of Immortality?
I've heard of it, and I hear it's very good.
Isn't it same devs as Her Story?
I think so. It's definitely a similar game.
Hold on.
I wanted to like Immortality really bad.
Isn't it like live action?
It's an FMV.
It is all FMV, yeah.
I hate that.
No, I was into it, and I tried to play it a little bit, but it has the Xenoblade problem where I played it for 2 hours, I think, and I still didn't like... It definitely isn't 40 hours of it, but I played it for 2 hours, and I think this is a problem a lot of people had with Outer Wilds. I played it for 2 hours, and I still didn't get what the game was. Like, I was just watching videos. I never figured out, like...
Yeah, the live video thing in games really jars me. I don't like that very much.
I like it. But I think it's fine. I do not like... Because the game is about you watching movies. That's what the game's about. You're watching footage of movies and trying to figure out something. But it does not... You're trying to figure out why the movie's never released, I think. But I did not even... I played it for a while. I intend to play it still because there's a Jacob Geller video about it. And I always play the games before I watch his videos. And he's like my favorite YouTuber. But Immortality's gonna... It's a tough one. It's a tough one to get through. Just because it's so oblique. Like...
Yeah,
opaque, maybe is the word I'm looking for.
I mean, okay, so don't get me wrong. I enjoyed Horizon and I enjoyed Stray, but I don't understand why game direction would be... Why these games would be considered for game direction. I do see the argument for God of War Ragnarok, because if we're thinking game direction, I also think about like the structure of like how the game is shot and the narrative, and God of War Ragnarok is immaculate at that. But, if we're factoring in game design, like, it has to be Elden Ring.
Yeah, Forbidden West didn't do anything exciting to, shake up
I mean,
the open
it
world
was
genre.
it was pretty to look at, and it had like good side quests, but it was very much still an open world game.
Yeah, it didn't.
Can I tell you
do
something?
A Breath of the Wild.
What's
This is
up?
a hot take. I'd have put Pokemon Scarlet and Violet on this list before Stray for best game direction.
Yeah, I don't know. That one's tough because I just think like, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. It's now the lowest rated Pokemon game of all time on
And
Metacritic.
they're just wrong. Like,
it's shocking to me actually that the performance dinged it that much.
no, it's not just shocking. It's unfair. Because I have played a lot of games. Well, okay, I'm coming from a PC perspective and nobody cares about PC, so take this with a grain of salt. I've played a lot of games that perform really, really bad at launch, and they get 80s and 90s on Metacritic.
Yeah, it is kind of baffling to me, because I actually follow these review scores pretty closely, just because I find it fun. And this response to Pokemon has been a little surprising to me, because, like, yes, the performance is atrocious, but it's also maybe the best Pokemon game.
Definitely.
So,
yeah, I finished the post game now. You probably haven't gotten to the
I've
post
started the post game.
The production value in the post game, actually, it was so good it made me angry that the rest of the game didn't have that production value, but it's just so good. Like, that is a good Pokemon game.
Yeah,
they did it.
is
They
good.
finally did it. And
honestly, this is how the critics rewarded them, which is very. I mean, I get it. Like, we shouldn't accept poor performance, but like, you have to weigh all elements of a game equally, I think. And at the end of the day, you have to go with how the game made you feel. And I guess if the game really just frustrated you because of the performance, the scores make sense. But like, I was able to look past the performance pretty quickly.
I think
personally.
Pokemon and Elden Ring are very comparable games. Elden Ring obviously beats it. I'm not saying that they're in contest in this category. But Elden Ring came out, horrible performance on PC, and nobody cared. Nobody cared.
That's
and,
true.
Everybody still played it.
I'm gonna make a meme replacement for Forbidden West here, in the best game direction. Trombone Champ.
I don't know about direction.
I mean, Trombone Champ is fun, but
it did something weird with a rhythm game.
Yeah, I think Trombone Champ is an important game that came out this year. I don't know about best game direction, but
it's definitely a notable game.
It is.
It is a notable game. Yes,
and it's going to be very notable when we play it at Extra Life.
Yeah, I have some plans with that. Right.
So for the sake of time, I'm going to keep moving. Otherwise, this episode is going to be...
Well, the first two are like the biggest ones.
That's true. Best narrative. Okay. A Plague Tale Requiem, Elden Ring, God of War Ragnarok, Horizon Forbidden West, Immortality. So this has to be God of War Ragnarok. I will tell you this as someone who's played 3 out of the 5 games on here.
Okay, I will say I haven't played Immortality. I think it could be in the conversation, but I haven't played
I've heard very good things about the narrative of Immortality.
Immortality is supposed to be... And Immortality is going to deliver its narrative in a more interesting way. Not necessarily a better way, that's not what I said. But I think it gets points for that. I still think it's probably Ragnarok.
Yeah, I agree with that. I don't know if there's any debate to be had on this page beyond that.
Having not played any of these games, but I think the fact that Elden Ring is on this is kind of weird.
I do think it's very funny that Elden Ring is on.
Stupid.
That's just like respecting the obtuse From Software storytelling, like environmental storytelling.
Wait, did you play A Plague Tale?
I played the first one, and I have not played the second one. I don't want to be that guy, but like I can't see how a Plague Tale Requiem could...
It's very grimdark, it looks like, and that's just not my thing.
Yeah. Lot of dirty, diseased rats.
So we're going to give it to Ragnarok. I also think I think Ragnarok is going to win this because nobody played Immortality. And I hate to say that, but...
I don't know, man. Like, this Immortality has been on 2 out of the 3 categories we've looked at so far. But yeah, you're right. Like, more people have played Ragnarok than Immortality, for sure.
Yeah.
All right, moving on. Best art direction. Elden Ring, God of War Ragnarok, Horizon Forbidden West, Scorn, Stray.
Just Scorn.
This one's actually...
This is hard.
Tough. This one's tough.
Stray's art direction was really good. Scorn's art direction is insanely good.
Scorn's art direction made me disgusted to even watch it. I just love it.
I think Horizon Forbidden West is a very pretty game, but I don't think it's in the running for this.
No, me neither. I don't think Elden Ring is either.
I don't know, man. I don't know
either.
I think God of War probably.
I think God of War is in the running for that, as someone who's played it. But what I will say is, even though like graphically, Elden Ring is not as impressive as God of War and Horizon. It made me
Altus Plateau.
Yes, it made even the first time you like get past Stormvale Castle and you look off that ledge.
Yeah.
The way the world comes together and the way the world looks as a whole is so strong to me. I kind of want to vote for this.
I think Scorn. Having not played it, I still think Scorn is going to win.
I think Scorn's going to win.
Scorn's a very distinctive art style.
Scorn's art direction is the game almost.
The game's an art piece. It's like Scorn.
So I haven't played Scorn, full disclosure, but I have looked at it. Yeah.
What has happened to Scorn is Scorn is literally like a dive into H.R. Geiger's nightmares.
Yeah, it's body horror. It's
absolutely disgusting and nasty.
Yeah, I mean, if we go along the philosophy of like, okay, Elden Ring won Best Game of the Year, God of War won Best Narrative. If we're going to like their strongest individual points, maybe it makes sense to give this to Scorn, you know?
Yeah.
But I just don't know if that's how they like judge these things. So I'm actually going to go with my heart and say like I think in my mind Elden Ring takes this. As far as like what the committee picks, I don't know.
I think the committee's going to pick Scorn. I only played Elden Ring and Stray off this list. And I think Stray
looks very good.
Stray's a contender, but I just don't see Stray actually winning any of these. I think
that
it's
like gloomy, rainy cyberpunk aesthetic. Like I can conjure up Actually, I can conjure up images from Stray very easily.
I take it back. I might go Elden Ring because of one moment, that elevator ride.
Yeah, that too. Like there's many moments like that in that game.
That took my breath away.
Right? Like there are moments where I was just like, what am I playing right now? Like what am I looking at? Like so that's why I'm going Elden Ring with this. But
yeah, I'm with you.
All right, moving on. Best score and music. All right, A Plague Tale Requiem. No, it's not going to be. The boss fight music is epic, but
it is, but it's not.
Yeah. God of War Ragnarok, Metal Hellsinger, which I think, did you play that, Mike?
Yeah, Metal Hellsinger wins this for me without contest.
I've listened to bits and pieces of it, and I think Metal Hellsinger definitely does it.
Metal Hellsinger absolutely wins this. Metal Hellsinger.
So, for me, I have not heard Metal Hellsinger, so I'm going to give this award to God of War Ragnarok. Bear McCreary's score in that game goes so hard, and I love it. It's so good. Like, there's several themes that I just listen to on Spotify, like, all the time now that the game has come out.
I don't even like metal very much as a genre, but Metal Hellsinger is immaculate. Like the way the game and I know that that's not really what this is asking, but the way the music integrates into the gameplay and like makes you feel like you're a part of the song and everything, it's unmatched in any game I've ever played, I think.
Yeah. I mean, I'll have to check it out. I haven't heard any music from it.
It's really fun. I'd play it on. It's probably only available on PC for you. Actually, I think. I don't think it's on PS4, or PS5.
Yeah. So I guess So for this one, we're going split God of War, Metal Hellsinger.
2/3 Metal Hellsinger for those keeping score at home.
All right. Yeah, but we will see when the results come out.
Okay, I got beef with this next one.
What's this next one? Best audio design.
Why is Metal Hellsinger not on here?
Best in-game audio and sound design.
Yeah, objectively wrong. It's Metal Hellsinger.
Let's see. It's not Elden Ring.
Not Elden Ring.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not Elden Ring.
Gran Turismo 7.
It might be Gran Turismo 7.
It might be, yeah.
As someone who has never played Gran Turismo before.
They do a really good job. Yeah.
You can't do that wrong. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. I don't know. I haven't heard the gun.
I mean, I've played it. It's fine. You know, like
that great.
Who is Guerrilla Games paying to put Horizon on all these lists?
Don't say that, man. That's not how.
I know
this works.
It's a joke, but it's like it's
some
not,
people
it's
really
just
believe
not.
that. Though. Yeah.
Like
I can't wait till the next Hideo Kojima game comes out.
Yeah, I would go honestly. Like it's weird of me to say because the one game I haven't played on here is Gran Turismo 7, but my vote's probably going to be Gran Turismo 7. Just knowing how these other games sound. Like, don't get me wrong. Like God of War Ragnarok, great sound design. Horizon Forbidden West, fine sound design, but nothing that like made me sit up and be like, that is like insane sound design.
Did Battlefield 2042 come out this year? Or was that
no,
last year?
It did not. That was last year.
Because that was a miserable game, but that Battlefield games DICE games will win best sound design.
I do think it's funny that Elden Ring is on this list because it
from
software games, like specifically like the Souls games. Have you guys noticed they all have like really weird muted sound effects?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like that's not just me.
They
like
also
I don't
have repeated sound effects.
It's an aesthetics. It's like an aesthetic choice, but I don't know why they do that. Like it's very bizarre.
Yeah.
So Elden Ring does not deserve to be here. In fact, I would probably put every game on this list above Elden Ring in that regard. But
I would too. Yeah, I think.
Yeah. All right.
It like goes Gran Turismo.
Are we all saying Gran Turismo? I don't think any of us have played Gran Turismo.
Only because I don't think the sound design in any of the others is interesting in any way. Like,
I mean, it's competent, you know. Like it's fine. Gran Turismo, I feel like Gran Turismo, half the experience is like the sound of being inside of like a really nice car or whatever. So, all right, uneducated guess, but that's what we're saying there. Best performance. Okay. Horizon Forbidden West, Ashley Birch. A Plague Tale Requiem, Charlotte McBurney. God of War Ragnarok, Christopher Judge. Immortality, Man in Cage. God of War Ragnarok, Sonny Suljic. This is Christopher Judge.
This is between Christopher Judge and Man in Cage. So I played enough Immortality to see a lot of Man in Cage. She's very good.
If you excuse me, I'm going to tune out the discussion until probably like 4 or 5 categories from now.
Okay.
Christopher Judge, though, I did hear that he was actually crying in the mocap, and he gets a lot of points for that. So
yeah, I mean, he's almost crying in this picture we're looking at right here. Dude, I will tell you as someone who's played God of War Ragnarok, Christopher Judge does an amazing job because, like, we know Kratos isn't a character that, like, is very emotional. He's very stoic. He's very, like, hard-edged, right? But Christopher Judge, you can feel that in his performance. Like, he's always on the teetering edge of, like, is this where Kratos finally, like, emotionally breaks? Or does he, pull it back? And he plays that razor's edge perfectly. And you can fully see it in his performance of Kratos. So I thought God of War 2018 Kratos was a good performance, but God of War Ragnarok Kratos is a performance for the ages. So I will just leave it at that.
I just want to say that I don't think he stomps Man in Cage, but also she's doing a much more traditional acting as well. Like, it's literally movies. It's,
Oh, right. That's true. It's live action. Okay. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, so it's kind of... She did good. It's just a weird category it's apples and oranges to compare them.
And I do want to give a shout out to Sonny Suljic as well, both father and son, on being nominated for Best Performance, which after having played the game, I think, he's obviously doesn't reach the highs of like an accomplished actor like Christopher Judge, but he's very good.
I did not know.
What's up?
I didn't know Ashley Birch was in Horizon.
She's Aloy. She's the main character.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Ashley Birch is very hit or miss for me.
Yeah, she was great in like she was in, what was it? Life is Strange, right? She was great in Life is Strange.
Chloe,
but like Aloy, and I don't think this is on her, but like they don't really give Aloy anything to work with. Aloy is basically like an RPG protagonist, right?
I dug on Horizon Forbidden West a lot, and one of the reasons is how not a character Aloy feels to me in everything I've seen.
Yeah, like, Aloy is very much like...
It almost feels
if you compare like Aloy and Kratos in like God of War 2018 and beyond, they're like two completely... They're in different planes, right? And it's not due to the caliber of the actor, but it's how that character is like...
No, because
the material that character is given it. Yeah,
like,
she can. Yeah.
She doesn't, and she just isn't asked to. And it almost feels like they're wasting their money putting her in those games.
Yeah.
Like... of putting a big name.
It is a bit strange. That being said, I have not finished Horizon Forbidden West yet. So if the story goes to some like emotional places, then maybe I could see it. But as someone who has not reached that point yet, I don't understand why she's on here. All right.
So we're just gonna go Christopher Judge, right?
I'm voting Christopher Judge.
Yeah,
I'm very confident in that.
Moving on, devil's advocate with Immortality.
No,
I am embarrassed. I think we should skip this next one.
Games for Impact? You think so?
Have you played any of these?
That's a great point.
Yeah, I have no idea that I haven't played any of them.
I want to read them out loud at least.
Okay.
So, Games for Impact for a thought-provoking game with a pro-social meaning or message. So, A Memoir Blue as Dusk Falls, Citizen Sleeper, Endling Extinction is Forever. What a name.
I had heard of that one.
And I Was a Teenage Exocolonist. I do like the art for Endling. It's like a family of foxes.
Yeah, my gut says that one's gonna win because it's the only one I've heard of. But I'm embarrassed that as somebody who talks about games as art and is on a podcast, I'm embarrassed I haven't played any of these. But
yeah, I mean that's it's kind of wild, right? Because like we are pretty well versed in like AAAs and indies as like a collective, but like I guess this is like even too deep cut for us, which is kind of
one of these is Xbox Game Studios, like As Dusk Falls.
Wow,
I don't know
how did I not? Oh, wait a minute, I've heard of this. I've heard of As Dusk Falls. I remember it by looking at it now. It's that really. Remember, we totally dunked on it when it was shown.
Hold on.
It was it was that Life of we thought it was like a Life is Strange wannabe. Yeah, we totally eviscerated that game when they showed it.
Yeah, that game's okay. No wonder I didn't play it.
I don't know.
I've probably seen it on Game Pass a dozen times.
Yeah, maybe it's actually pretty good. Who knows? Yeah,
but there's 2 Annapurna games on here, and you know how I feel about them.
Yeah, that's.
Oh yeah, it's the game that like runs in stop motion. It's like
yes, yeah, I remember seeing this game
on backgrounds.
Yeah.
All right.
Anyway,
so let's just skip that because we can't form an educated opinion.
Yeah.
Best ongoing game: Apex Legends, Destiny 2,
Fortnite.
Final Fantasy 14, Fortnite. It might be Genshin Impact, honestly.
No, dude. As somebody who Chapter 4 of Fortnite just came out, and they put the Doomslayer in it. It's Fortnite. Don't even come at me with this.
Oh, I have no idea. I have no stake in this race.
No,
Wait, but Genshin Impact? Come on.
No. Oh, okay. I haven't played Genshin Impact,
I haven't either,
so
I don't really like it.
But it's definitely. I'll tell you what it's not. It's not Apex Legends. It's not Destiny 2, and it's not Final Fantasy. Well, Final Fantasy.
It might
14.
be Final Fantasy 14 for all we know.
I think it's going to be. No, I really don't think. I think this is like almost an Elden Ring scenario. Fortnite stands so tall above all these others.
Man,
I really do believe that.
Like, just a side note, I wish I could watch this thing live with you guys because, like, it'd be so much fun to just like talk about if we were right or wrong. But like, I'm definitely gonna have to watch it like way after everything has been decided. So hopefully,
well, if you want, I can wait. I mean, if you're in town, I can wait, and you.
Yeah,
can
that would be sick.
Yeah,
I could come over and we could watch it.
Have a TV of your caliber.
I will be. I'll be capable of watching it probably Friday because I'm going out Thursday.
Okay, so none of us are seeing
so we could all get together.
Okay, yeah, if we could all get together Friday and watch it, that'd be pretty sick.
Yeah, I'm down.
Maybe live react to it. I don't know. We don't have that. We don't have the technology for that.
All right. Yeah, we'd have one mic. Yeah.
Okay. Best indie game. Here we go. Cult of the Lamb, Neon White, Sifu, Stray, Tunic. So this. Okay, I know you're gonna say Tunic, and it probably is Tunic, but I want to give a strong shout out to Sifu.
I would also, Sifu would be, having not played it, Sifu was my second
Sifu
place.
was one of the best games I played this year. Like, bar
all
none.
5 of these games are really good.
Yeah. Honestly, Neon White, I haven't played Neon White, but I hear it's a masterpiece as well. So
have you played Tunic?
The Tunic's literally like next game I want to play on my list.
Tunic,
so.
Tunic was the game I was trying to remember when we were looking at Game of the Year. Yeah. I didn't remember that it came out this year. Tunic is the closest thing to closest competition I played this year to Elden Ring. Tunic is special in the same way that Outer Wilds is special in the same way.
Yeah, I haven't even played Tunic, and I'm agreeing with you here. So
Tunic should have been on the Game of the Year list this year. It is the only game I played this year that comes close to Elden Ring, and I'm sad I couldn't remember it. The reason I didn't remember it is because I beat it in 2 days. It's not very long.
So I'll concede this one. Let's go with Tunic, but I do want to give a super huge shout out to Sifu because I loved that game.
Bad.
I loved that game. Every second I spent with that game, I platinumed that game. I was so into Sifu, man.
This is 4 really, really good games in Stray. And Stray's not bad.
Stray's good for the reasons these 4 games are immaculate games, but Stray's good because it's a very atmospheric and culturally relevant game, I guess. Yeah. In the sense that it went mainstream. But yes, all of these games are excellent in their own right.
Yeah. God, Tunic is good. I can't believe I forgot about it. Tunic, just to get into Tunic, I don't take notes when I play games, but I had a pen and paper for Tunic. I had to, and I was happy I had to. I loved every... Okay, no. There is one puzzle that I looked up how to solve it, and I still don't understand how I was supposed to solve it. And
honestly, I want to throw this out there. I could also see Neon White winning it. I've heard such good things about Neon White, yeah.
That's Annapurna, too. Dude, Annapurna's, really getting out there. I didn't know that they did that game.
I mean, they're a publisher, right? So they do all sorts of stuff.
Yeah. They just have their fingers in a lot of pies.
Yeah.
I'm surprised that there's only one Devolver game on here.
Have you played Cult of the Lamb? For some reason, like Cult of the Lamb seems like the kind of game that would be up all of our alleys, but I don't think any of us played it, right?
So the reason I didn't play Cult of the Lamb is because it's not really a roguelike. Like, it tries to be a roguelike, but the roguelike is the worst part of the game, so I didn't play it.
Yeah, maybe one day I'll check it out.
It felt like it's one of those things that was better than the sum of its parts, but none of the individual parts were like that good.
Okay. All right, moving on. Best mobile game. Apex Legends Mobile, Diablo Immortal, Genshin Impact, Marvel Snap, Tower Fantasy. It's gotta be Marvel Snap. Like, I
Really?
always keep hearing, like, everybody doesn't shut up about Marvel Snap, is what I'm trying to say. So, I haven't played it, but, like, I would be very surprised if it's anything but Marvel Snap.
Sure, I don't play mobile
Any opinion
games,
on this?
so-
Okay, yeah. Would love to hear your thoughts on this. All right. Best community support. Apex Legends, Destiny 2, Final Fantasy 14, Fortnite, No Man's Sky.
It's Fortnite.
It's Fortnite or No Man's Sky, right? Like,
Yeah.
No Man's Sky continues to be the gift that keeps on giving.
I don't mean to kick somebody while they're down. Apex Legends should not be on this list.
Yeah, I mean, I'm
Like-
not too familiar with what's going on in Apex Legends. I don't know.
Apex
Like,
Legends-
I just know it's a popular
It's
popular
yeah, they don't-
battle royale.
It's just not moving at the same clip. Like, even at the same clip No Man's Sky is. Like, they just don't put out content very fast. And the content they put out is, like, very small. And most of it makes the game worse. Like, I still, the only map I like is the second map they ever put out. I think all the others are, I literally like, and the way they do their map rotation is, like, everybody has to play on this map for, like, an hour or two. And it'll be me and my friends are playing Apex Legends, and the map changes, and we're just like, oh, we don't get to play the game we like anymore, and we turn it off and play something else. Like,
Yeah.
it's just worse.
I
most of the
do
time.
know that Destiny 2 had a pretty big year, like a big expansion released. If you remember, I was super into Destiny 2 back in the day, but I fell off pretty hard. So
I've
I don't
tried to
really
get into.
I don't really
So-
know what's going on in Destiny right now, but I know, like, it seems like the players are happy, so
The
that's good.
reason I don't think Destiny 2 can win this is because they have put no effort into onboarding new players. And
Yeah, I mean, as someone who's put, like, hundreds of hours into Destiny 2, if I went and tried to play Destiny 2 right now, it'd be like trying to pass, like a master's in astrophysics, you know? Like,
yeah, I have it, and I've wanted to play it, and me and my friends have tried to get into it, and we genuinely, like...
It's just too much. It's too much.
Yeah,
It's overwhelming.
We don't know what to do. Like, we've
Yeah.
tried, we want to play the story, we can't figure out how.
But I will say, though, it
it's
seems
weird.
like fun.
It does.
Just
No, it is
figure out
fun.
how to
Like,
get
when
me back. Yeah.
When I get into a mission, it's just, if I ever take a second to think, like, why am I doing this? And the answer is, I have no idea.
Yeah. The story...
But the shooting's good. The shooting feels very good.
I
in
mean,
that game.
Bungie... to me, Bungie has mastered first-person shooting. And I don't think anyone can really hold up to that. I know that
I
might
wish
be
343 could
controversial
catch up.
take, but, like...
No, I agree mostly. Mostly.
Yeah, so I don't know. Shoutouts to Destiny, I guess. But
Actually, weirdly,
figure
would
out a
say
way to get me
Overwatch
back into the
kinda
game,
keeps
please.
up,
Yeah.
But
But so you're thinking Fortnite, right?
it's got to be Fortnite.
Yeah.
Well,
I would throw no Man's Sky out there as an alternative.
I would say Fortnite because, especially for, like, listening to the community, Fortnite finally put out no build mode this year. People have been asking
That was
for
this year. Okay.
forever.
Yeah.
And
man.
no build mode is, like, just how I play it now. It's more fun for me because I don't have to, like, climb a dang castle
yeah.
at the end of every game. I never
the
liked
building
that.
the building made the game just way too sweaty.
Well, yeah, so, a million years ago when Fortnite came out, it needed the building to be unique.
Yeah.
It does not need that
It doesn't
anymore.
need it now. Yeah.
No, Fortnite is unique. Fortnite is the third-person battle royale. It's
Yeah. I
It's-
mean,
it's
Fortnite's
unique and it's
basically a
phenomenon.
platform now. Like it's
Yeah.
it's that big. So, all right, I'm going to keep things moving in a clip because we're not even halfway through.
yeah.
Innovation and accessibility. Okay, As Dusk Falls, God of War Ragnarok, Return to Monkey Island, The Last of Us Part 1, The Quarry. So I know why The Last of Us Part 1 is on here, and it's because they brought all the accessibility options from The Last of Us Part 2 to The Last of Us Part 1.
Can we really
Including,
count that,
like-
then?
I mean, The Last of Us Part 1 was
Yeah.
built from the ground up, so...
I think it counts.
I would
but-
count that.
Can we count it since Last of Us Part 2, I think, won an award for this last year? Or the year before that?
In 2020,
Yeah.
I believe.
I'm not
yeah.
going to vote because I didn't play any of these games.
Yeah, as someone who played
2.
3 of these games.
Oh, you
I
played The Quarry?
I played the beginning of The Quarry. I'm trying to play it with my friend, but we can never match up our schedules, so that's still
I
on the
just
docket
watched
for
The
me.
Quarry, and
Yeah.
I enjoyed The Quarry as a watched experience a lot, but
And yeah, God of War Ragnarok has also chalked the guilds with accessibility options, but I still think in terms of like breadth of options, The Last of Us 1 surpasses it. So
it's a hard one for us to vote for as people that don't use any of those options. So.
Exactly. It's just someone with a surface level knowledge of some of the features included in a couple of these games.
Yeah, I lean Sony games because they're making a very admirable effort.
I'm going to vote for The Last of Us Part 1 because I know like totally blind people can play this game, totally deaf people can play this game, and I think that's pretty impressive. All right.
I kind of want to skip this next one, too.
What's this next one? Let's see.
Best VR
AR.
Among Us VR. Next.
Oh my god, that's Shell Games. We have to give it to Shell Games.
Oh, no way. They did the Among Us port?
Yeah, I didn't know that either. Yeah,
that's crazy. We're voting for that. We're voting for that.
Friends of the show.
Yeah, okay. So, let's call the nominees. Off, After the Fall, Among Us VR, Bone Lab, Moss Book 2, Red Matter 2. And I have no qualms with that pick. Among Us VR.
I haven't played any of these, but yeah, I love them. I loved Among Us. It's probably really good in VR.
Yeah, I hear it actually is pretty good in VR. So, okay,
this next one's painful.
Best action game: Bayonetta 3, Call of Duty: Modern Warfare 2, Neon White, Sifu, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: Shredder's Revenge. I am voting for Sifu on this.
I want it to be Bayonetta 3 so bad, but it's just not. It's just not.
I would guess Bayonetta 3 probably wins this, though. I would guess they win this.
I think Neon White wins this.
Yeah, that's true. Neon White might win this. Yeah.
I think Bayonetta 3... I think it's going to be...
But also, I heard such good things about TMNT as well, like the side-scrolling, like, beat-em-up.
So the thing is...
Nature of the game?
If it was best action in a game, I would actually lean Bayonetta 3, but they're saying best action genre.
Yeah.
Bayonetta 3 is not a very good game.
Best game in the action genre, primarily focused on combat, though. I don't know. That might...
Neon White.
Yeah, I would not be upset with Neon White. Again... Huge shout out to Sifu. If this was up to me, I would give Sifu all the awards.
If Call of Duty wins, then I'm going to be mad because Call of Duty doesn't fit.
There's zero chance Call of Duty wins this.
Call of Duty just doesn't fit this genre even. Like it's not the right kind of combat. Like it's the odd one out in such a big way here. I guess Neon White kind of is too, but Neon White makes more sense in this genre. It's a thoughtful combat in a way that Call of Duty is not.
Yeah, and I'm also giving... I hope Sifu wins, though. I'm just going to put that out there.
Yeah, I would like... I think it's going to be tight between Neon White and Sifu. I really do.
All right, moving on. Best action adventure for the best action adventure game, combining combat and traversal with and puzzle solving.
It's God of War. Oh,
A Plague Tale: Requiem, God of War Ragnarok, Horizon Forbidden West, Stray, and Tunic. So I know you're going to say Tunic. I'm going to say God of War. I was going
to say God of War because I don't even think Tunic really belongs in this category.
Yeah. So actually, one thing I will say, and one thing that actually is my biggest criticism of God of War Ragnarok, which makes me almost want to move away from it on this choice, is that in terms of the puzzle solving, it is the weakest game I have played in that regard in a long time. And the reason for that is not the design of the puzzles themselves, but that your NPC companions won't shut up when you encounter a puzzle. Like 5 seconds into a puzzle, they basically blurred out the right answer. And it was so infuriating. There was
a Game Maker's Toolkit video about it.
It was the most infuriating part of this game by
Which
far.
I thought was kind of a bad look for him. And it's
so jarring because 2018 was not like that. I don't understand why they chose to, like, maybe they had internal metrics saying people just couldn't figure this out, which is just baffling to me. But
because none of the puzzles were hard.
Yeah. So, but I can get more into that later in the show. But like, I would still probably vote for God of War just because of like combat and traversal and just the general action adventure nature of the game, just traversing the 9 realms and like it feels like an epic adventure, which is why I would give it to the
my vote. I think if I'm picking the game, I think I'll like most out of this bunch. I will like God of War Ragnarok. I will not like it more than I liked Tunic. There's just no way.
Yeah, but I probably agree with that.
I just don't know that I agree with Tunic as being in this category.
Really? I mean, at first glance to me, it seems like a Zelda-like almost, which seems like an action-adventure game to me.
The Zelda-like is like almost a facade for the actual game.
Interesting. Okay.
Which is why I feel weird about it. I'm going to go Tunic, though.
All right, so choices have been made. Best role-playing game. Okay, Elden Ring. Live Alive. Pokemon Legends Arceus. Interesting that Legends Arceus made it on here. Triangle Strategy. Xenoblade Chronicles 3. It's got to be Elden Ring, right?
It's got to be Elden Ring.
Yeah.
If anything that opens with best game and Elden Ring is a possibility,
right? Like, With rich
shout out to
player
Arceus,
character customization and progression, including massively multiplayer experiences. Yeah, I guess shout out to Arceus, but like player customization and progression, like no game does that like Elden Ring, right? Like you can have like
that was in Triangle Strategy.
I have no idea what's in Triangle Strategy.
Is that game's out?
It's out apparently. Yeah,
I had no idea.
and it's hilarious because they just called it Triangle Strategy. It was announced as Project Triangle Strategy,
Well,
so I thought that was
Octopath Traveler,
was a code name, but like, sure. Yeah, I mean, it's got to be Elden Ring. You can have like 1,000 different builds. You can make your character look like 1,000,000 different ways. Like, it is RPG to the core, right? So,
yeah,
Elden Ring, my vote. Best fighting game: DNF Duel, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, All-Star Battle R. Really interesting.
Is Sifu a fighting
King
game?
of Fighting's 15, Multiversus, Sifu. That's okay. So I guess they're really stretching the definition of fighting game, right? Because like when I think fighting game, I think 2, maybe 4 players in the case of like arena fighters, like fighting it out in like a round based format. Sifu is very much like
Sifu's single player.
You walk the streets and beat on some people, right? Like, so I would not classify Sifu as a fighting game. Multiverses is a Smash Bros. Clone, right? Featuring Ultra Instinct Shaggy and Batman, which is just, I guess, memes or reality.
LeBron James.
Versus LeBron James, yes, you can do that.
It looked fun, but I don't think it belongs with
I played it for like 10 minutes. I was just like, I just wish I was playing Smash Bros. And I uninstalled it.
But I didn't play any of these others.
Yeah. So I have played, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure All-Star Battle R, actually, the original came out on PS3, and I played that game to death. And it is an arena fighter, right? So it's not a traditional, like, fighting game that you think of like Street Fighter or Tekken. So, that being said, I see an Arc System Works game on here, so I'm probably just going to vote for that, because I know Arc System Works just, like, has that genre mastered, basically. So, uneducated guess, but I'm going to guess DNF Duel. I love Sifu, right? But I don't think it's a fighting game, really. Like, you learn combos and stuff, right? I guess it's a non-traditional fighting game. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Moving on.
I think this next one's hard. I'm going to read them off.
Best family game. Okay,
so
sure.
It's for the best game appropriate for family play, irrespective of genre or platform. We've got Kirby and the Forgotten Land, Lego Star Wars The Skywalker Saga, Mario plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope, Nintendo Switch Sports, and Splatoon 3.
This is very tough.
It's between Lego Star Wars and Kirby.
I was going to say for me, it's between Kirby and Nintendo Switch Sports.
I think it's Kirby, though. I don't actually own Kirby. I played it with a girl I was seeing for a bit.
I've played Kirby.
It's just very charming.
I've played Kirby in a family setting, and multiple family settings, actually. And it's a hit, man. Like, kids love this game. Yeah.
I intend to play Lego Star Wars, though. It just got added to Game Pass, like, today.
Yeah, I think they...
if it's anything like the old games, then it's a contender. I love Lego Star Wars, but I haven't played it yet. It's hard to say, but I think Kirby's going to beat it out, because I just love Kirby.
I'm going to give my vote to Kirby as well.
You gotta take, Mike?
Nope. I'm waiting for the next category.
Okay.
Best Sims... Okay, this is Mike's category.
My category.
Okay. I think you should read this one off, Mike.
All right. So this is best game focused on real-time or turn-based simulation or strategy gameplay, irrespective of platform. So we got the Dune RTS, Mario and Rabbids, Total War Warhammer 3, 2 Point Campus, and Victoria 3.
My gut says Total War.
Oh, that's definitely. Total War was super ambitious.
I do want to play Mario, though.
I heard good things about Victoria as well. I have never heard of 2 Point Campus.
2 Point Campus, actually, I've actually played a few minutes of it. It doesn't, it belongs in this
I also
category,
had no idea Dune had a strategy game.
Yes, it just
That's
got
a thing?
it this year. Yeah. They
Wow.
had an
Campus is
RTS in the 90s.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Dune and Dune 2 kind of cemented the RTS genre.
2 Point Campus is like a goofy, fun game in a way that the rest of these are not. Like even Mario and Rabbids is like
I always hear such good things about Mario and Rabbids. Like, I hear
it's just XCOM.
It's a really good. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. But I have not played any of these games, so I'm going to defer to Mike.
I guess the Marvel Midnight Suns didn't come out soon enough.
Yeah, it just came out.
I guess not. Or maybe it wasn't considered.
It
I don't
looks
know.
fun. I mean, I've been watching Northern Lion play it. It looks fun.
I will say
The production
Warhammer
value is super
3.
high in that game. It seems like the Marvel game, but
like
Yeah, go
Warhammer
ahead.
3 at launch, I'd say it definitely didn't deserve it. But with Immortal Empires and how ambitious and massive of a map you can do everything on, yeah, it 100% is probably the best RTS strategy game to come out this year.
I think it's weird that they I mean, I guess they already had 31 categories, but it feels wrong to put turn-based and real-time strategy games in the same category to me.
I mean, Total War's both, though.
Really?
Yeah.
That's scary.
There's an
that is
RTS
scary.
component. There's real-time
Yeah.
combat and then turn-based outside of combat.
Okay, so I'm gonna go with Total War because I trust Mike.
Yeah, same.
Next, best sports/racing game. Wild that they combine these two. It's kind of funny.
Yeah, I'm going to go Ollie Ollie World because it's the only one of these games
Um,
that looks worth playing.
It's
F1
literally the only
Whoa,
one
hold
that's
on,
not
hold
like
on,
a yearly
hold on.
entry.
F1 22, FIFA 23, NBA 2K 23, Gran Turismo 7, Ollie Ollie World. I feel like Gran Turismo is probably going to win this.
Probably, but my vote goes to Ollie Ollie World for being an interesting video
Of
game
these-
at a glance.
Of these 5 games, 2 of them are not yearly entry games.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think FIFA used to be really good, but apparently it fell from grace. And same with NBA, but I don't know anything about F1. I didn't even know F1 made games.
Yeah, I just
Like,
can't imagine an F1 game competes with Gran
Yeah.
Turismo, though.
Yeah,
Gran
that's
Turismo is like best in class in racing.
Yeah. All right, I'm going to say Gran Turismo 7. You all are saying Ollie Ollie World.
I think Gran Turismo is
Either
gonna
one of
win.
those two,
Ollie Ollie
yeah.
World deserves
Both-
the
both
win
are
for
kinda
being a
there.
video game.
Moving on. Best multiplayer game. Okay. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, Multiverses, Overwatch 2, Splatoon 3, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge. So this, I mean, do you all think it's going to be Overwatch 2? Based
No.
off of the reception? I mean, what else would
Alright.
win it?
Splatoon 3.
I guess. I just
Splatoon 3 probably.
Splatoon's one of those things where I just like look at
Splatoon
it.
bores me to tears. but
I
people
look
love
at it and I'm like, I don't like this. Like I have
Splatoon-
not
yeah.
ever played a single Splatoon game, but I've formed that opinion.
I've been having a
Splatoon
lot
3
of fun with Overwatch 2, but it's just Overwatch 1 with an update.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Splatoon-
People seem to be enjoying multiverses as well, but
Yeah, none of these games.
I don't
are
really feel
fun,
too
though.
strongly about any of these, honestly.
No. I'm looking at it and I'm like, did no good multiplayer games come out this year? Because I'm trying to think of what I've played this year, but I think I've mostly played
Yeah.
older games.
Yeah, I had a bugbear about multiplayer.
I mean,
games
honestly,
this year.
Elden Ring. Yeah,
Elden Ring, yeah, probably.
It's a better multiplayer game.
And they
than
announced
any of
that
these in my
Coliseum
mind.
update on it.
Yeah, I
don't know
know.
if you saw
Yeah.
that, which is even more multiplayer stuff. Okay, I don't know. Let's give it to Splatoon 3 and move on.
Skip
Content
this
creator
one,
of the year.
I don't
Game
even
Talk
feel like reading these
podcast.
Okay, yeah.
Next category.
Yeah, right. Okay, I mean, I'm going to read these out loud. Carl Jacobs, he's on Mr. Beast videos, I know that. Ludwig, I know him because of his involvement with the Smash community. Nibellion, who has a Mob Psycho 1 avatar, so he probably wins in my book.
Yeah, big points.
Nobru, and Cutie Cinderella. Okay.
I don't care about any of these.
Okay, Nibellion, he just left Twitter. He was the guy who kind of broke all these news stories before anyone else did.
People. Oh,
Yeah, that was his whole thing he did. He
Yeah,
would
let's
break
let's
big
let's vote
news
for
stories.
Nibellion. He's got a mob
It's
avatar.
got a mob
Yeah.
avatar. Yeah.
Yeah, he
All right.
break just massive
So,
stories.
I'm
Best.
gonna read best debut
Okay.
indie. This is for the best debut indie game created by a new independent studio. We've got Neon White, Norco, Stray, Tunic, and Vampire Survivors.
All
It is
amazing
Tunic.
picks. Yeah.
It's definitely.
You don't
Tunic.
think Vampire Survivors
I
could
think
win?
Vampire Survivors has a chance.
I
Vampire
think
Survivors could win, but
Yeah.
especially because it spawned a genre like
It was
Yeah.
innovative, very innovative.
not nearly as innovative as Tunic, though. In my opinion,
I'm going to guess that Vampire Survivors wins this.
Tunic definitely deserves it, though. I just
Okay.
I think the problem is a lot of people will not have finished Tunic. A lot of people will have only seen like the Zelda facade that Tunic is wearing,
Yeah.
and that's good but not great. Like Tunic, as I was playing through it, I'm like, this is a good game. It didn't become a great game until I beat it.
Yeah. No,
And
yeah.
Tunic
understand.
deserves it though. Just know, from someone with good tastes.
Okay.
It's definitely Tunic.
Oh man. All right. So we're those are our 2 votes: Tunic and Vampire Survivors. What did I do? I Okay, best
this one's
adaptation.
easy.
Best adaptation.
Best adaptation.
Oh,
We've got
man.
recognizing outstanding creative work that faithfully and authentically adapts a video game to another entertainment medium. We've got the good one, Arcane, League of Legends.
Yes.
Actually, Cyberpunk Edge Runners was also good.
Yeah.
Not as good as Arcane.
I hear it was
But
good, yeah.
The
The Cuphead
for,
show, Sonic the Hedgehog
the-
2, and Uncharted. The
I
Cuphead
gotta
show
be.
was mid.
It's
will
gotta
make
be
an argument-
Uncharted, guys.
I will make
What?
I'm kidding.
I'll make an
Okay.
argument against Edge Runners here. Not that we really need any, but
I mean, okay, let me be serious here.
Cyberpunk's adapting a tabletop game and not a video game. Technically,
It
I want
has
to
to
get really
be
technical.
Arcane. It has to be.
Arcane.
It has to be Arcane.
Because
Beautiful.
yeah.
Arcane was
Arcane's
mind
the only
blowing.
one where I hate the source material and still loved the
Arcane
show.
was superb. It was a masterclass. Like,
It was
I-
the most faithful video game adaptation I've ever watched.
but they fleshed out the world
yeah.
so
Oh my
well. Like,
gosh.
it's a place I'm interested in now because of
Yeah.
this show. Like,
Oh yeah,
No, I'm excited for more of it. Like,
yeah,
and
it was
Cyberpunk
a masterpiece.
just- I've got beef with Cyberpunk. I think I might have said this on the show already, actually, but I watched the first 2 episodes of Cyberpunk, and like the inciting incident of this dystopian reality is that something happens to his mom and he can't afford her health care. And I'm like, I live in America. Like,
This
yeah,
is
that's
just
not
real life,
Cyberpunk
yeah.
to me. That's just the world I live in. Like,
Like-
this isn't. And that was just very.
Arcane told a very beautiful story. That it's a tale as old as time, but they nailed it. Every character in that
Yeah.
show felt believable and real. And
Every
And
performance
let's
was
not
so
to
good.
even say about the art. Like, it
Oh,
was
yeah.
so gorgeous to look at.
Yeah.
Like,
Edge Runners is
It's
just a
the only
trigger
one on this I
memory.
could imagine watching a second time, let alone.
oh,
finishing.
I'm absolutely going to watch it a second
Oh, yeah,
time
I
before
think
the
I
second
might.
season comes out.
think
I will
might
say,
like
for what
it.
it's worth, started Cyberpunk, didn't finish it. Started Cuphead show. I think I got through an episode. Started Sonic the Hedgehog 2 and turned
Did
it
you
off
really?
halfway through.
Okay.
Like,
I
didn't
will
watch
say
Uncharted.
I
because
did
think
watch
it's
Uncharted.
blasphemous.
I did
Yeah.
watch Uncharted, and you're right, it was blasphemous.
Like,
But I will say, like, Uncharted surprisingly became popular outside of people who didn't enjoy, outside of the people who enjoyed the game. So people who had never heard of the game like this movie,
I need to get
which
out
is
of this
weird to me.
category. I need to
It
stop looking at
basically-
Uncharted.
yeah,
It basically fills that weird, like, national treasure, kind of like treasure hunting romp niche that isn't really occupied right now, I guess, for those people.
yeah.
But like, as someone who's played the games, I was just like, are you serious right now? Tom Holland? Mark Wahlberg?
Yeah, Mark Wahlberg.
What
is
is
such a
happening?
miscast. That one was so bad.
Wahlberg?
I mean, Mark Wahlberg is the reason I didn't go see the movie. He didn't even not that he didn't try. I'm sure he did whatever they told him to, but they didn't even try to make him look like Sully. Like,
Yeah,
or
I
act
was-
like Sully. Or
Yeah, like it's a C tier popcorn movie. That's all Uncharted is.
yeah.
But Arcane, masterclass. That's all I have to say.
Arcane is, and it's a lot of masterclass. It's,
Oh, yeah.
it's much
Yeah.
longer than Uncharted.
Yes. All right, moving on.
I hate
Most
this category.
Anticipated, dude. Didn't Elden Ring win this for like 3 years in a row or something?
I think so.
This
yeah.
category
Okay,
is
so I
literally
mean,
just
this
like,
is hard,
this
though.
okay, so let's read the nominees: Final Fantasy 16, Hogwarts Legacy, Resident Evil 4 remake, Starfield, The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom. I have to say it's Zelda, but like there are arguments to be made
Hogwarts
here.
Legacy is going to be huge.
there are
though.
arguments to be made here for pretty much every entry on this. I feel like
The only one I think is a real stinker here is Resident Evil 4, and I think that's just because the original is so good and has been done to death. Like,
yeah. So Resident
Resident Evil
Evil
4
4
got released.
basically created a genre, right?
yeah.
So like, but I have never played Resident Evil 4, so I'm curious to see. Like, I will play this remake, and I'm curious to see what I think about it because I know it's such a foundational game. I know people are like so like edge of their seats excited for Final Fantasy 16.
Are they really?
Yeah, they are.
Because I'm interested in Final Fantasy 16, but I do think it looks worse than 15 and everything I've seen.
And
so far.
I mean, I could say the same thing about Starfield, right? Like, people are so over the moon.
I actually
for
think hype's
Starfield.
died on Starfield a little bit since they started showing stuff, but I'm still excited to play it.
I
Oh,
think
yeah,
you
I'm
might be
very
right.
excited to play
I
it.
will still play it.
I'll
But
play it because I have Game Pass.
I mean,
I have
it's
no reason
not-
not to.
it's not like, you know, if Elder Scrolls 6 got announced, that'd be like my Bethesda game. Like, I will
Yeah.
drop everything to play this, right? But like, Yeah, I don't know. Like,
I'll tell you, my pick is Zelda, though.
My pick is Zelda. Like,
Zelda might be the first game I take off work for.
I mean, that's.
I don't think I've ever done that.
It's that caliber of game. You know, Zelda Tears of the Kingdom is the game that you reschedule your whole week around. Is the game you take off work for. I mean, it's a megaton, and that's incoming. So
it's going to be like an Elden Ring, Breath of the Wild.
It's an Elden Ring caliber game, which is not something you say very often.
We're getting them back to back.
Yeah. All right. So my vote is Zelda. But these are all. I mean, I could see an argument being made for all of these games. Best esports game: Counter-Strike, Global Offensive, Dota 2, League of Legends, Rocket League, Valorant.
My vote's Rocket League.
It's going to be League of Legends because it always is. So I don't know if we need to belabor the point.
Valorant's big, but
Valorant is big. It's probably going to be League. Best esports athlete.
It's Rocket League in my heart.
Okay, these are all like
it's just esports after this.
These are all like League of Legends. Or no. I mean, it's going to be Faker, right? Like Faker's like the most. Everyone knows who Faker is.
I don't want to do all the esports stuff.
Okay, so we don't know anything about esports, so we're just going to move on. Best esports team.
That's all of them.
I think it's simple.
No way, is it really? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So they're all the way. Okay, so those are all the. Okay, so the rest of the categories are all esports. If you're interested in that, feel free to look it up. We don't know anything about esports, so we're going to skip that. No disrespect or anything to these categories.
It's just not what the show's about.
Yeah. Okay, so those are the nominees, and those are the categories for the Game Awards. What I will try to do is, man, I really want to get this episode out. Sorry, you're seeing a peek behind the curtain right now, but I'm going to probably just like right after we finish recording, just edit this episode and throw it out. I'm probably going to be exhausted by the end of it, but...
Yeah. Especially because...
Now is the time to get it out.
Difficulties.
Yeah. Oh, man. Okay. So, yeah, I think overall, like, this was an excellent year for video games. Like, very much, like, huge tentpole releases, really great innovative indie releases. This year had them all. So, I'm excited to see what ends up coming out on top. And what... what's up?
Yeah. No, it's just, I'm thinking about, like, Elden Ring versus Tunic in my mind, because Elden Ring is the one I enjoyed more of the two, but Tunic is the one I'm going to be thinking about next year, if that makes sense. Tunic was something else.
Yeah, I mean, like, for me, Elden Ring is both of those things. Like, I still think about Elden Ring, man. Like, I had moments with that game. Like...
Yeah,
I don't know. So, it'll be...
I mean, Elden Ring's DLC is gonna enrapture me again, I'm sure.
Yeah, and this is just, like, the Coliseum update, right? There's presumably, like, a big DLC expansion
I mean the big
too.
DLC. I don't even know if I'm gonna check out the Coliseum update.
I'm not too big on, like... I feel like if I tried playing multiplayer Elden Ring now, I'd get, like, smoked by some guy who was, like, totally nude and, like, only had, like, a dagger or something, you know? Like, people have mastered that game.
The performance on PC for me, like, I'm just gonna get stomped without it even being my fault. And I would get stomped even if it was my fault, because I'm not that good at those games.
Yeah. Okay, so... excited to see the results. We'll probably do an episode covering what we think of the results as well as the announcements, because there are certainly going to be announcements during this show.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that'll be exciting.
But with that being said, let's move on into what we've been playing, and I'm going to be selfish here and go first. Can anyone guess what I've been playing?
Pokemon, probably.
Yes. Unironically, yes. But we already talked.
Really?
We have talked about Pokemon at length.
I thought you were going to talk God of War.
Actually, I am going to talk about God of War. But just quickly on Pokemon, I did finish it, right? Like, I saw credits and everything. Let me tell you, that...
Like, you finished the post-game?
No, I finished the game, right? So I got to the point where I rolled credits. I haven't done post-game yet.
Is that... Do you go into the crater?
Yes.
Okay.
This is after the crater.
I was no. Post-game, okay.
No, that's not even post-game. That's endgame.
Okay. I just rolled credits and turned it off, like, last night.
Okay, so you haven't even gotten to the post-game yet. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, that the ending of that game, the crater was so good.
The production
like, the
value just
atmosphere
amps up so much. It felt like, this almost feels mean to say, but I mean it in a nice way. It felt like a modern RPG. Like, it felt like Dragon Quest. It felt like Persona.
Like Pokemon finally learned from its contemporaries, which is wild.
And it was so good. Like, I thought a lot of stones on Game Freak to put a song with lyrics in the credits in a game that really would have benefited from voice acting.
No voice acting at all. Yeah.
Especially that finale would have some voice acting would have gone a long way, but it was good. It's so
But I love,
good.
I love it. Even kind of subverted the fact that, I guess, small spoilers here, but the Elite Four is not the end in this game, right?
No.
The Elite Four is just one of 3 basically story branches that you tackle, and then all 3 story branches converge for the true finale of the game, which is
And
really.
I'll tell you, Arvin was the one that gave me trouble. Arvin was the one that I whited out on the first.
Oh,
try.
absolutely, yeah, same. Like
Yeah.
I beat the Elite Four Nimona on my first try, but Arvin, no.
I did not beat the Elite Four on my first try, but I didn't lose nearly as badly as I did against Arvin.
Yeah,
I was pretty underleveled on and I didn't have good type matchups for the Elite Four the first time. So,
but yeah, Pokemon, fantastic. Do you want to talk about Pokemon, Connor? Since we're already here, or is that all you have to say?
That's pretty much what I have to say. I'm sad that it's getting dunked on so bad because it is the most fun I've ever had with a Pokemon game as an adult, at least.
Yeah, same. Honestly, same.
And I just really like it. I will be playing the post game. I was actually probably going to play some more tonight. It's just really fun.
Yeah, fantastic
and I'm
game.
going to complete the Pokedex, which I don't. I have a copy of Pokemon Diamond with a completed Pokedex. I suspect I had an action replay involved as a child.
I certainly did. Yeah,
I don't remember for sure because I was pretty anti-action replay, but I wanted to transfer my Pokemon from Ruby up. So,
fun fact: Ranga, who was on the previous episode, has completed the Pokedex as of yesterday, which is
really I'm
wild.
close.
He's been fiending that game.
I'm at 300, I think, ish.
I think I've caught 200 and only seen 300, so I'm pretty.
I've only seen 310. I think I've caught just about everything I've seen.
Okay, yeah.
I'm missing a lot of version exclusives. I think the only version exclusives I have are the Paradox Pokemon. I took care of those. Yep. So I got a ways to go, but I'm gonna do it. Because I'm just having a really good time doing it. It's not even a chore for me. And I think a lot of people that didn't care for this game, completing the Pokedex has been the fun part of this game for me. Because a lot of people are saying hey, you explore, but you don't find anything. And I have found something.
You find the Pokemon.
Yeah, you find the Pokemon. And if that does nothing for you, you're not going to enjoy the exploration.
If that does nothing for you, what have you been playing for the past 20 years?
I mean, there are people that get Pokemon and they just have their team. They don't catch anything outside their team.
That's wild.
They exist, but yeah. I love that game. I do. I have half a mind to put it down and wait for a performance patch so that I can really love that game. But
yeah. Will there be a performance patch? That's another question, but
I don't know if you saw, but they put out a bug fix patch.
They did,
and in the notes, Nintendo said this, not the Pokemon Company. They said hey, we've gotten a lot of feedback about the performance of this game,
right?
And we're gonna look into it.
Yeah, but hopefully they do.
I think that means a lot from Nintendo. I think they're embarrassed because it does.
Nintendo does usually have a seal of quality on their titles, and at least in terms of performance.
Used to mean something. And
but that has degraded over the years. I will say,
Pokemon is making the Switch there aren't a lot of games that run that bad on Switch. It's usually a slightly worse experience than
Pokemon, Bayonetta.
Bayonetta did not run bad enough for it to Bayonetta just doesn't look good. Bayonetta's performance wasn't the problem for me. It was just that it was visually boring. And Pokemon also has a bit of a visually boring problem, at least until the Crater, which was incredible. But
the Crater,
incredible relative to the rest of the game.
Yeah, no, but that thing had atmosphere, which is not something
if you've ever seen Made in Abyss, it felt very much like that.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah. Okay. Pokemon's great.
Yeah.
So. Yeah. Anything else?
No, I was gonna ask to take my turn now.
Oh, okay. I was gonna talk about God of War, but sure.
I'll be quick. Sea of Thieves released their They released an update. It's season 8, I believe, and it adds matchmaking. Essentially, there's a little hourglass on your boat. You can flip it to either be the Reapers or Athena. And then you go underwater and you pop up and you're in a fight. And it solves a lot of problems that game had, where, I would have to sail 10 or 20 minutes sometimes looking for a fight because the PvP was the best part of that game. Now you can theoretically get instant PvP. That's not really how it plays out most of the time. The queue times are absurdly long. There's no every time you sink, you have to gather all your supplies again, which is another, depending on how much gold you have, it can be 10 or 15, even 20 minutes of gathering resources before your next fight. And those queue times can be like 40 minutes, I've heard, like of you just sitting underwater waiting for a fight to happen. And that's pretty bad, in my opinion. So, great concept, poor execution, which is kind of the Sea of Thieves motto.
Yeah.
So, I like it. I'm playing it a lot, not winning a whole lot. It's Sea of Thieves is like the only game where I see people. You have to get to level 100 to unlock some stuff in each category, and that's a lot of fights you have to get. And Sea of Thieves is like the only game I've ever seen where people will see a grind like that, and they are so disenchanted with the PvP because of like the bad matchmaking and not being able to get a fair fight that they will just matchmake, let you sink them, and matchmake again because they want the rewards so bad that they'll take the meager EXP you get for sinking over having to put themselves through the pain of the matchmaking, putting them against people that are way better than them all the time. So they need to fix it really bad because the ideas are all there. It just technically does not work. That's all I got. I like it, but God, does it need work?
Speaking of gods.
Ooh.
All right, so time to talk about God of War Ragnarok. So, unsurprisingly, I've loved this game, right? And there's so much to say about it, but one thing I will say is that God of War 2018, also a game that I love very much, right? One of my favorite PS4 games. When you get to the heart of the story, it's about like a dad, right? Learning to accept and love his son, right? I don't know if that's the right way to go about it, but in general, you get the gist. And Connor, you've played God of War 2018, right? So you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
It's very much about Kratos' relationship with Atreus. And if I were to encapsulate God of War Ragnarok in a sentence, right, and I don't want to spoil anything, right, so I'm going to avoid as many spoilers as possible, but it's almost like the inverse of that. It's like a son's relationship with his father, right? And as someone who does not have any kids, right, like I can certainly empathize with stories like The Last of Us and God of War 2018, which, you know, they're dad stories, right? But what I will say on the flip side of that, right, like, everyone's got a father. You might not have the best relationship with them, but everyone's got a father. So the emotional and
everybody.
Most people have a father.
Yeah, a lot of people have fathers, but yeah.
Or had a father, you know.
I know a few people that have never had a father figure in their life, really.
Okay.
So I just don't want to act like they don't exist, is all I'm saying.
All right.
You know, most people have a father, and I think most people are going to be able to relate to this game, which is your point.
Yeah. So my point being, right, like, that perspective of, like, having a dad and trying to, man, I just don't want to spoil anything, but, like, doing things to try and help your dad, right, like, is a feeling that I think a lot of people can relate with, more so than having a son, right? Because, like, obviously you'll get that perspective once you have a son. You don't fully understand what that's like until you live that. But a lot more people have lived the other side of that, right? And to me, I think that's why this story was so much more emotionally resonant. And this game, you know, like, obviously continues Kratos and Atreus' journey and how their relationship evolves in the face of Ragnarok, which is the end of the world in Norse mythology. And that's obviously, like, the strongest thing about this game, the story, right? Like, which is not surprising at all.
Does it wrap up the story?
It wraps up the story. It's very definitively over after this.
Uh-oh.
And I don't want to say definitively over, because they leave it open. The way they end the game, they leave it open to progress in any which direction they choose. So, in that sense, it was a smart way to the end of the game, because it's the end of this story, but it's not the end of, like, the story. You know what I mean? Like, there's going to be more God of War games, is what I'm trying to say. But very much so, this game, like, there is, like, a summary of 2018 if you haven't played it, but I will say that summary is, like, very bad. This game very much assumes that you've played God of War 2018, right? So you need to play this game if you have any intention of... you need to play 2018 if you have any intention of playing this game and fully, like, understanding the story. But what this game does is it takes 2018 and just ramps everything up to 11, right? Like 2018 was a relatively kind of constrained game. You went to a few of the 9 realms. It was mostly like a personal story, right? It had a few big set piece moments, but like other than that, it was a pretty, for God of War, a reserved game. Ragnarok is not like that. From minute 1, things just pop off, and like the intro to this game, I will say, like, it probably doesn't surpass God of War 3's intro, because that is still the most bonkers intro to any video game I've ever played. But it gets close, right? Like, it starts off with quite a bang, and then the pacing slows way down, right? Because like,
I think that's a lot smarter than what they did in 2018, though.
Yeah.
Because I think I remember texting you while I was playing 2018 that I, like, did not get the hype at all for the first, like, hour. And then I texted you at like hour 3 and I was like, oh, there it is.
Yeah. So like this game, it literally like, I want to say 2 minutes into the game, you're thrown into conflict, right? Yeah. So like it does not waste time like ramping up your blood pressure, right? But you know, after the intro, right? Like the intro is there, like it's very much there just to hook you, right? Like intro has a section that might make you cry depending on how you feel about certain things. It has a section that'll get you pumped up on your feet, be like, you know, like, let's go. This is what I've been waiting for. And then, you know, it very much then becomes the game, right? And then it's, you know, slower, it builds, and I think a lot of people will be not maybe a lot of people, but like people might get upset at that because they'd want that insane pacing and action to continue throughout the whole game, but that's just like not a sustainable thing, right? Like, so like the pacing does slow way down after that, but then it gradually builds up from there, right? And the story naturally ebbs and flows into like peaks and troughs and stuff like that. The cast of characters has been vastly expanded. You get to explore all 9 realms in this game, you know, so in the first game, I believe you only explored like Midgard, Alfheim, Helheim, and then at the very end of the game, spoilers, I guess, Jotunheim, right?
Yeah, no, there was one other where like,
oh, there was like Muspelheim and Niflheim, which were like just like trials, right? Like,
I hated it. I was like so excited to see it, and there was nothing there.
Yeah, so I will say, obviously some realms are more fleshed out than others, but there are.
Is there main content in all of them, though?
There is main content in all of the realms.
That's plenty for me. It felt weird that there were entire realms dedicated to side content in the other one. I was like, well, I get, you know, it's one game. You're making another.
So speaking of side content, the main story in this game is pretty meaty, right? Like 20-25 hours. But there is just as much side content in this game. And I will say that a lot of the side content is very important for fleshing out some of these characters, right? Like, a lot of characters you learn so much about, and in turn, in how they bounce off of Kratos and how they bounce off of Atreus, you learn more about Kratos and Atreus as well, all through these side content quests. And I was very surprised, actually, that they would include these things like backstory reveals and like really in-depth character moments that are completely missable, which is, I guess, bold to say the least. But, so I touched on it earlier, right? Like, the one huge negative in this game that was not present in 2018 is the hand-holding for the puzzles. Like, the puzzles are actually pretty decently designed, right? Like, and I would love to be able to solve them on my own, but like, I'm not even kidding. This is not hyperbole. Like, 5 seconds into a puzzle, your character will just be like, hey, have you tried doing this? Have you tried doing that? And it's just like, Sony, come on. Like, have a little more respect for your players.
I've got a hotter take. Like, just take the puzzles out.
I mean, they're not like, we're not talking like Zelda dungeons, right? We're talking about like,
yeah, I know,
1 to 2 minute like little puzzles, right?
That's why I would take them out. Like, why are we wasting dev time on this stuff? I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, like it. I guess if the whole game was just action, it'd just be like Devil May Cry or something.
Yeah, no, I agree that we need pacing,
variety and pacing,
but I could walk down a hallway and be mentally stimulated equally to these puzzles. Like, I don't know that they're worth the time they put into them. Especially if they're just going to spoil the answer.
That might be true, right? Like, and it's especially true for the spoiling the answer part. Like, what's the point in putting this puzzle in here if you're just going to tell me what to do?
I'm not saying that you can't have puzzles in an action game and have them be good. I'm saying, like, if you're gonna just give me the answer, why are we?
And I was shocked to see that there was no like way to switch that off in the options. That's just the default.
In a game so accessible.
Yeah, like it was baffling to me. Like it was the one glaring weak spot in a otherwise immaculately polished game, right? Like I just couldn't understand why they would go for that, right? Like especially because 2018 didn't have that, right? Like they let you figure it out. Like maybe they'd give you a hint here or there, but like this is literally like, here's what you do, just go do it. It's just like it takes all the fun out of the equation. So very annoyed at that. And hopefully they never do that again. I don't know why they thought that was a good idea. They probably had some weird metrics that told them that it was a good idea. I'm telling you, it's not a good idea. Don't do that anymore. And I will notice, like, it was kind of in Horizon as well. So maybe this is just like a weird thing Jim Ryan has mandated. I don't know how it works, but hopefully we move away from that. Especially in an era where, like, Elden Ring exists, right? Like, quite possibly, like, one of the most obtuse games of all time. Right, and it's like selling Call of Duty numbers, so. But I digress. Okay, so what else in this game? So the combat, right? So combat is faster, more furious than 2018, and it is considerably more difficult, I will say, than 2018. Enemies are tougher. Enemy variety is off the charts. Like, I told you there was like that one preview where someone said there's more enemy variety in the first, like, I don't know, 3-4 hours of God of War Ragnarok than in the entire 2018. 100% accurate. They even make a jab at a cheeky kind of like comment on like the enemy variety criticism for the first game. And I guess I'll just spoil this. It's not that big of a deal. But you remember the trolls from the first game, Connor?
Yeah.
Like and how you fought like thousands of them.
And they
were
so
like the
boring.
main like
you just
mini
kinda had
boss.
to throw your axe at their head a bunch.
So
yeah.
like early into the game, you're like riding an elevator or something, and you get picked up like by a troll. Right, and then you think, like, you know what, here you go. But Kratos just, like, lops that thing's head off, and you move on. Yeah. It was very much just, like, a developer joke, being like, hey, we heard you. Like, this is not a thing you're gonna have to do. So
Yeah. I liked God of War 2018, but and it's weird, because I forget it until it gets brought up, which is a testament to how good that game was. But yeah, the trolls were boring every time.
Yes.
You just kind of throw your axe at their head. It wasn't interesting.
Tons of interesting enemies, lots of, you know, like, because you're exploring all 9 realms in this game, right? So lots of interesting flora and fauna, and lots of very weird creatures that live in those places, I will say. So it almost feels like Monster Hunter-esque at times, because, like, you're being just assaulted by these, you know, fantastical creatures. And I guess and, like, I will say that, like, basically every enemy type from 2018 comes back, right? But they just add on to that. Like, there's so much more enemy variety.
God, is there any timeline on this game coming to PC? Do we know?
I would guess 1 year, because that's kind of what their philosophy is, right?
I mean, recently it's been quicker. I mean, Miles Morales was on PC.
That came out this year, right? Miles Morales came out when the PS5 came out, so it's almost 2 years.
Was it really?
Yeah.
Oh my god, it felt so much shorter. Okay, you got me.
But yeah, I wouldn't worry too much. This game is definitely coming to PC sooner rather than later.
Yeah. I just wish they would do it day and date.
So, obviously, so if you're familiar with God of War 2018, I might get into spoilers for the first game here, but you know that Kratos and Atreus accomplished their very personal mission at the end of the first game, but in doing so has angered Asgard and Thor and the Aesir gods, right? And so you see the consequences of that in this game. And what I will say is, like, obviously the story goes to very interesting, satisfying, and maybe some subversive places. But as someone who has spent, because, like, God of War 2018's story, I was so into it. I was into, like, reading the theories about what might happen, Atreus is Loki, what could that mean for the future of the games. Things don't quite play out the way I expected. Right? And initially I was a little disappointed because I was just like, oh, what I wanted to happen didn't happen. But once I sat back and was just like, okay, probably the way they did it was the better, smarter, and more interesting way to do it. But I guess what I'm trying to say is just the case of, like, story expectations that were built up in my mind over years, some of them didn't come to pass. And initially I found that a little sad, but I got over that pretty quickly after I finished the game. And what else do I want to say? So, obviously your weapons, the axe and the blades come back. I will confirm there is a third weapon in this game. I will not confirm what it is, but just in case you were worried about gameplay variety, like, you already get plenty of gameplay variety with the axe and the blades, but
I can't believe he picks up Mjolnir.
That gets added on to that. I'm not saying anything. Can't get me to say anything.
I don't know. That just feels like the obvious one.
Yep. So, and, you know, oh man, I can't really say anything. That's the thing.
Spoil
I can't
it.
say
I will be
anything.
upset if you spoil it, because I want to play this game.
I can't say anything, but like, all I will say is that there are additional interesting gameplay twists. That's all I will say.
Oh, I know the one you're talking about, and I do like it.
Man, so, and this is one of those games, right, where you don't want to say anything, right? Because, like, at the end of this game, you feel like you've gone on a journey, right? A quite literal one, right? Because you do go through all 9 realms, right? But, like, the places the story takes you, the plot twists, the action-packed moments, the things you kill, right? Like, you feel like you've gone on this epic journey at the end, right? Like, and I think I watched Donkey's review on God of War Ragnarok, which, by the way, if you don't want to get spoiled, don't watch that review, right? But
I didn't, for that reason. Donkey's terrible with spoilers.
Yeah, he doesn't care at all. But he encapsulates it very well at the end, where he's just like, at the end of the game, all you can do is sit back and say, "God damn." Like, that's how Donkey ended his review, and I think that's a fitting way to capture that game. Because, like, you're just like, wow, what a journey. And I will say one other thing. This game made me cry in 2 places. And I will be interested in discussing what those places are with you, Connor, once you've played the game.
A year.
Yeah. But,
yeah. I'll buy it the day it comes out on PC, though. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah. And hopefully you won't have to wait too long.
I could see it being 6 months. They're really at a good clip right now with their...
Yeah, especially because they got Nixus now, and that's, like, all they're doing, so...
So what have you been playing, Mike?
Okay.
Were you still going?
I was gonna say one last thing.
All right, but, go for it. I'm sorry. There was a pause. I misinterpreted.
So I was just gonna say, like, in terms of where the series goes next, there are some very, very interesting options, and I'm curious what Santa Monica does, because, like, I think no matter what they pick, it will be, I guess in a word, controversial, right? Just based off the way they ended the story. So I'll just leave it at that.
I was going to say that I hope they do something more interesting than just moving to another pantheon, but...
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to say too much, right?
Yeah.
But, I really like the way the story, like, where the story left the characters, like, as characters, emotionally, and all of that, so...
Kratos and Bayonetta team up to kill the Abrahamic god.
I'm in. How much?
Oh my god, the protests. Oh, it would be so rough.
Yeah, so play God of War, everyone. It's not the same games you remember from the early 2000s. They've grown up and they have become
I do want to play
something special. Yeah. Those games are good in their own right, for sure.
Yeah.
But what this series has become is not something I could have ever anticipated, right? When I first played God of War 3 and I was like fighting Poseidon like while hanging off a Titan and like cutting off Helios's head and like using his head as a flashlight, if you had told me that this game series would have become one of the most interesting emotional narrative games I have played in the past like decade, I would have laughed at you, you know? Like,
isn't there like a quick time event to kill your children in one of them or something?
To kill your children?
Yeah, I thought so. Because Kratos accidentally killed his family, right?
Oh, I know, that's in like in a cutscene. That would be so messed up if they made you do that. Like, oh my god.
I've just seen some wild quick time events.
There are some wild quick time.
Yeah.
It was a different time, okay? It was a very different time. The early 2000s were a different time.
Hey, they were establishing narrative in games. They were figuring it out.
I guess that's what that was, you know?
It wasn't. They thought they were. It had been done.
It was certainly something. But I'm glad. In any case, I'm glad this was the end result. So
Yeah, me too.
okay, sorry to go on for so long. Go ahead, Mike.
All right, so I'm gonna talk a little less than Amit did.
Sorry.
I've been playing Vermintide 2.
That name's familiar.
It's a game about smashing rats as Warhammer characters, and it's actually fantastic.
So it's Warhammer 40k Vermintide 2.
No, it's Warhammer
It's
Fantasy.
Warhammer. Okay.
Yeah, just Warhammer.
Is there a 40k version?
Yeah, just released called Darktide.
Okay.
You aren't smashing rats in that one though, and I think there's just something very satisfying about smashing Ratman.
Yeah. All right. Charlie.
What's it?
I haven't played any Warhammer games.
Honestly, Vermintide, it feels it's like Left 4 Dead, but there's character progression, and obviously a focus on melee. But
That sounds really nice, actually.
oh yeah, it is a lot of fun.
I've always liked Left 4 Dead, but it's a little bare bones for my tastes.
I do want to say I wish more games focused on melee. Like Rumbleverse focuses on melee, and it makes it so fun to me. Like if
There's
it was
a
just
melee-
another like shooter, it would be so boring.
There's a sick melee weapon in Fortnite Chapter 4. It's like a power hammer. It's really fun. It's like a gravity hammer, but you can use it to launch yourself.
Even like I'm still talking about Warhammer Vermintide 2, but even like the ranged focused character builds and classes and talent trees that you have, they still don't really have that much of a terrible effect or too much ammo to use the ranged weapon. So you're still kind of desperate to use melee in most situations. It's super nice. All the characters have abilities. There's enough talent trees and crafting and gear that you get through loot boxes. But
Yeah.
the loot boxes, it's just random. It's just the way they do the random drops. They're not, you can't buy them. But say you complete a mission, depending on whether you gathered all the collectibles in that mission or not, it'll upgrade the tier of your loot at the end. And it's just conveniently packaged in a box for you. I wouldn't call it a true loot box system since you can't really pay for the equipment boxes. You just have to earn them.
That's nice. I like loot boxes that you earn and can't buy. I actually really like the dopamine rush. I like all that. I just don't like it when it's
just a fancy system for loot drops at the end of a mission, really.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yeah, it's just a pretty way to do it. Yeah, I agree.
Like, there's nothing predatory about these loot boxes. I open the box and I get my gear and I look if it's better than the gear I currently have equipped. That's it. It's very simple.
Yeah.
That's about it. That's all I have to say about Vermintide 2. I haven't really been playing games other than Overwatch 2 in the last week.
Yeah, I've been playing a lot of multiplayer games. I did, so I think I mentioned it earlier in the show, but I did, ascend to an OLED TV after
Congrats.
much of Amid persuading me. I love it. I've been using it a lot. But when I bought it, I was like, I need a game that'll really break it in. So I went with Spider-Man Miles Morales.
Oh yeah.
Which I think is probably one of the best games to play on it. It's one that I see Linus Tech Tips using to demo games and all. It also
It's gorgeous.
it plays to the strengths of my particular TV as well in many ways. So I liked that. Visually, also, I'm on a borrowed 3070 right now. I know I'm bouncing around graphics cards a lot, but I was able to play this entire game at 4K, somewhere between 100 and 120 FPS.
Any ray tracing?
I think I turned ray tracing off because I preferred frame rate, and I genuinely couldn't really tell a difference when I had ray tracing on, except for the reflections.
The frame rate is so important in a Spider-Man game.
Yeah, it just felt so much better to have the frame rate than it felt to have the ray tracing, so I turned it off.
On PS5, they have Insomniac Wizardry, right? They do the 60 FPS with ray tracing, but it's like visually, it's at 1440p ray tracing, but not full ray tracing and 60 FPS, and that is the best way to play the game.
I probably could have pulled off 1440p ray traced, but I just bought the 4K TV. That's 4K.
You did it right. You did it right.
4K 120 was that was something I couldn't do on my old TV, so I was like, I gotta do it. And it's VRR, so I wasn't at locked 120. It was between 100 and 120 the whole time. But I didn't feel the slowdown, and it also. I don't want to sit here and talk about performance the whole time because I think that this game was better than Spider-Man 2018 in many ways.
It was more condensed, right? It didn't have any of the extra fluff that Spider-Man 2018 had.
I could have used a bigger I wanted more boss fights. That was like my only complaint. I didn't like a lot of the bosses felt the same, and there weren't very many of them. But other than that, and it's weird because I'm sitting here, I'm like, the story is better because it had fewer villains. The gameplay needed more villains, and I don't know how to fix that, honestly.
I do think, if we're talking story, I think I liked Peter Parker's story more than Miles Morales' story, if we're comparing the two games.
Yeah.
But I will agree, the gameplay is improved. Like, it's just more fun to play as Miles in general, I think.
I just like a young Spider-Man. I like how he's just figuring it out. I like how he's nervous. I love his relationship with Finn and Genki. Is that the other guy's name? I love that, especially Finn, like the way that develops throughout the game. My only complaint is that, like, there are a couple of times throughout the game where they make the villain wear the dunce cap, which is like when the story only makes sense if somebody that isn't an idiot has to be an idiot for a while. Mm-hmm. And I don't know, like playing the game, I don't know how I'd have fixed it, but it was kind of glaring. But other than that, I loved it. All the performances were good. Visually stunning game. The gameplay is amazing. It's also a small enough game that I'll probably 100% it because it's like feasible to do so in a way that I didn't feel like it was with Spider-Man.
Yeah, honestly, like Sony, do more of this, right? Like more Miles Morales, more Uncharted: The Lost Legacy. Like these more bite-sized but still AAA like offerings are really kind of nice. I think.
I'll say that, like, it also the frame. You know, I'm a PC snob. The frame rate and visuals and everything of moving this from a base PS4 to a PC with a 3070 in it, or, you know, running, you know, top, you know, ultra settings, 4K, everything. Yeah. And I'll probably be able to do ray tracing by the time Spider-Man 2 comes out, because this is a loaner graphics card, because I still haven't picked the one.
Just face it, you're never gonna get a graphics card.
I'm just gonna keep bouncing around. Yeah. No, I actually bought this one. I just have, like, I bought it because someone else wanted it, and they're gonna buy it from me when they have the money, because I got a really good deal. It's complicated, but it feels so good. High frame rates, like just swinging around felt so much better on PC than it did on my PS4, and I'm sure it felt really good on a PS5 too. Did it support a 1080p 120 mode?
Oh man, I'm trying to remember. I don't think it does. I think 60 FPS is the cap.
I don't blame them for that, because it would have been perfectly fine at 60. But
just going back and thinking about how I played Spider-Man on PS4 at 30 frames per second is just like unthinkable to me now. You know, like I can't imagine playing a Spider-Man game at 30 FPS now. That's just ridiculous.
It just felt wrong.
Yeah.
I also, Ahmed, you're going to want to stop by my house, because I have coming in tomorrow an ultra wide OLED monitor.
Oh man, you're
I double dipped.
Fully ascending.
I liked it so much.
You said you were going to pick one or the other. You did both.
I went for both.
Wow.
I came into some money, we'll say, and I decided to treat myself.
Oh, nice.
So, and they were both.
Well, I will have to come check that out. I'll be.
I think the ultra wide monitor you're gonna get a kick out of. I think it's
honestly, you know what, like. Man, it'd be so sick if we could just record Friday and do our Game Awards episode, but...
See, Friday's a little contentious for me, because I'm going to be up in P County for Extra Life, though.
Oh, true.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah, we'll work it out.
Yeah.
No, but that's really sick. I'm excited for you to experience that.
No, it's been killing me playing keyboard and mouse games ever since I got the TV. That's why I had to go for the monitor, because it was just like... They're good. I recommend, to anybody, OLED's the future. You know, they're getting cheaper.
They are getting cheaper, yeah.
Like, even I see it all the time, like, people saying budget OLEDs have, like, made them hate going to the theater, which I agree with. I went to go see Black Panther, and I was like, man, I wish I could have watched this all. Not to brag about my fancy new toys too much.
No, I mean, OLED's where it's at.
That's really good.
You gotta see it to believe it.
Yeah.
All right, man, you know what? I actually had one more game, but we've gone so long, I think I might just hold off for next week, because I also think you will have a lot to say about this game, Connor, so.
Okay.
Yeah, I have a game I'm saving for next week, too.
On that suspenseful note, I think we'll end this one. So, thank you all for listening. You can follow us at Podcast Game Talk on Twitter. Please like, rate, and review us on any podcast service you use, including Spotify, SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, etc. Click the link in the description of this podcast to join our Discord and talk to us there. Thank you, Connor and Mike.
yeah, see you guys next week.
Yep, see you after the Game Awards. Bye.